This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
And welcome back, everyone. We've talked before how fear is the baseline for pretty much everything that is holding us back. We may not even realize that we have fear of certain things, and fear goes back to the beginning of time. It's been put in us to keep us safe. We've identified all of this. All right, great. Now what do we do? How do we overcome fear to move our lives forward, to succeed in certain areas? We are going to dig deep into that today with a transformational life coach. And so great to have her back with us. Donna Day is on the program. How is everything in your world today?
Oh, it's great so far. So, I hope it keeps going that way, and it's great to be back.
It will go that way.
There we go.
Why not? Why not? Why not? So, just to recap about this thing called fear, it was my understanding, and I don't know if I heard this from you or somebody else, and or did I share it here, but there's two types of fear that is in us through evolution: the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. And my understanding is we need that in us to protect us. If you go back to the beginning of time, somebody's out there climbing a mountain, looking for dinner and looking for prey, don't want to fall off that mountain. And if there's a loud noise, be it a predator, a tiger, pterodactyl, whatever it is, it's going to make a noise. You're going to get some fear. The rest of the fear that we all have, we learned it. We picked it up, probably from our childhood. Probably, why are we afraid of spiders? Let's look at that for a minute. Why are we afraid of spiders? They don't really do anything. There's a few poisonous ones out there. What's the chances of you seeing one? Probably nil. However, they do say that you're always within 8 feet of a spider at all times. Okay. Why are we afraid of them? Isn't it from our childhood and maybe your mom saying, "Oh my God, a spider," and freaking out, and then you're like, "Oh," or a sibling freaking out about it? Because why would we be afraid of a spider? I wonder. I've digressed here a little bit on fear, but what are your thoughts there?
Well, I mean, it's just from like being learned or seeing other people's reactions and behavior, so it's more conditioned. I can definitely do a more personal note on spiders. For me, when I was a kid, I was actually bit by a brown recluse, and my hands started rotting away. So that's why I have had that's where my fear was. Before that happened, I thought they were cute and all that. But being a mom has definitely helped me overcome that fear because, when my daughter was little and she was scared of a spider, I didn't want to be the one running from it and her having to deal with it. So,
ladies and gentlemen, that's an isolated case. I've wondered and actually Googled if I've seen a spider that looks like a brown recluse spider, which usually hides under logs and things like that. Yours is I'd be afraid of spiders after that. That's okay. That's a little bit different. The rest of us, I can't recall ever being bitten by one, can't recall ever being challenged by one. Not really afraid of them. When I was a kid, yeah, sure I was, but I'm sure that came from mom or sibling or whatever.
Or even movies, how Hollywood
Yes.
portrays, spiders and bats and things like that. Just they kind of bring it in a haunted house or death. So it kind of, can trigger the brain going a certain way when you see it.
You know what? You are 100% right. Jaws. I remember seeing that. One of them, I don't know what it was. And my father took me and my sister, and it was summertime. We go to see the movie, and then now he wants to go out on his boat. I'm like, I don't know about that. And there was a little fear of sharks. But I got to tell you now, I don't really care. I'll go in the water now. I don't care. I've flown over a beach and seen them swimming by shore. What are you
Yeah.
going to do? It's like
Yeah.
I'm personally not concerned about it. There's, other things to be worried about. But these are fears that influenced us. Now let's look at those other fears that you wouldn't even think of. Fear of success, like, yes, fear of failure, that's huge. But many of us don't even realize if we have, a professional goal or something like that, and we're not moving in that direction, fear of success is real, isn't it?
Oh yeah. It can just be like you feel you're not worthy, that you're not good enough. That it's like or it could even be like you get promoted and you have to move. So it's a fear of leaving what you know. So fear generally stems from like the unknown or the unfamiliar. But everyone, you got to remember that fear is not your enemy. It's actually a sign of growing. So, one analogy that I can give, it's kind of like a guard dog. So it pushes you to the edge of your comfort zone and it barks, but it doesn't bite you unless you allow it to. So it's just, kind of just pushing yourself just a little bit, baby step at a time to overcome a fear and kind of befriend it. Don't make it so much, as I said before, like an
Hmm.
enemy. Because growth always happens or is happens the most when you push outside your comfort zone. So it's just, educating yourself a little bit more or familiarizing yourself with something and using that fear as power instead of it as debilitating.
I get you on that. And um, before we go deeper into that, the fear of success, it looks different in many different areas. So it could be, if I succeed, what's going to happen? People may look at me different.
Yeah.
Friends may treat me in a different way. What if I attain success and then can't keep it? Then it's going to be a failure. There's so much going on there. Should we have a relationship with fear? Should we give it a name? Should we, treat it like it's a person?
Yeah, I mean, I always just make it a friend is
Mhm.
the best way, but other people can use any type of other term. So like instead of making it something scary, just kind of befriend it. And like I said, use your power because if you're not scared, dream isn't big enough. You need that little bit of adrenaline to kind of like push you in the right direction, not over the edge, but like push you in the right direction because that's what will ignite the will and everything to move forward with what you're afraid of or unsure of how things may go. It's that big unknown factor, which goes right along with fear.
Mm. So let's say you know what you got going on. You identified maybe what the fear is that maybe holding you back. You kind of know. You don't want to admit it to yourself, but let's be honest. We know. We have the answer to everything. We know what's challenging us. It's all inside of us. Either we don't want to confront it, or we can't quiet the noise around us to figure it out. Let's say you do know. How do you overcome it? How do you push forward? Like you said, treat it like it's a friend. What are some of the things that you can do like that? And how can we just overcome?
So, I mean, for me, and what I tell my clients is that courage is not the absence of fear, but it's the action, the presence of fear. So you have to like reframe, oh, sorry, tongue-tied, reframe fear as excitement in disguise instead of it looking at it as like a negative.
Hmm. It's an interesting way to look at it. To turn it into your fuel.
Yeah.
Instead of the F word as in fear, make it your fuel
Cool.
to kind of push you forward with it. Huh. I'm going to say right here, and not just because we're together, this is where a life coach comes in. It really is, because
Yeah.
easier to say it than to do it. To treat it like it is an ally, and we're in this together. Fear. I got it. You need somebody to help you with that. I don't think I could do that alone. I really, I don't
Yeah.
think I could.
No, it's pretty much just learning, as one of my mentors always told me, is you can't get rid of fear, but you can learn to walk alongside of it or with it. So that's like, and with life coaching, us coaches kind of give you tools and little tricks and stuff of how to do that so it doesn't feel so overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah, and
You
then and
know?
plus you're if you don't talk this out with someone, or at the very least journal about it, or talk to yourself alone, um, it's hard to sort it out. Your mind is going a million times a minute. Let's say you have a work goal, professional goal. You're thinking about, I need to do this, I need to do that. Oh, there's fear, and it's everything is all jumbled up in your head, and then it's hard to even dissect it and put it in its proper place. Um, See this differently now. I really do. I love that. Make fear your fuel.
Yeah, and so a couple, I guess, tips and tricks that I'll kind of share is that I work with my client is one thing is to name it and claim it. So when you do that, fear loves to lurk in the shadows, but when you name your fear, saying like, I'm afraid of being rejected on the sales call, or I'm scared no one will show up at like, my event or, celebration, you bring it into the light and then you can't heal what you won't feel. So awareness is the first step to transformation. So that's like a number one key is that you have to become aware of what you're actually afraid of.
Hmm.
You know?
I get it. And you just it's something resonated with me. So I have an event coming up. I volunteered on the board of different organizations. They made me the honoree.
Oh,
And I said, I don't know if I want that responsibility, because you have expectations of, a certain amount of people showing up to raise funds and this, that, and all of it. So in the beginning, I kind of hesitated. Then I agreed to it. But I'm going to be honest, there was a fear that I wouldn't get enough people showing up.
yep.
And that would, to me, in my mind, that's a fail. And I don't want to say I regret worrying about it, but, we're like a week and change out. It's looking good. At the,
Good.
I worried about it for nothing, because it's all coming together, and another person, yeah, I'm gonna go, and they have to, make a donation and all.
Yeah.
But just like you said, when you have something coming up and you fear it, I was aware of it. Um, I just let it go. I'm more in that mode of, I care, but I don't care, and that's not just this; it's everything. I have this mentality now, the mindset of like, I just don't care. I'm not gonna worry about it. Why am I gonna worry about it? I don't care.
Sure. Yeah.
Um, because it usually turns out just fine. Is that a reasonable way to look at things? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I mean, I'll give you an example, even with podcasts, like the Global Podcast Network, which, I'm working with you on. They called for a 5-minute interview, and I was totally nervous, but I'm like, this is something that will be really good, really good. And so I kind of pushed through it, and then it turned into this amazing opportunity to work with you, So if I kind of shied away from it, instead of, if I took the fear and shied away, instead of take the fear and turn it into excitement, we wouldn't be here today. And I love it. I love working with you,
I
and it's
love working with
fun.
you.
Yeah.
You're amazing. You're fresh. I've said this from day one. Grounded, real. Even I go back to the image on your website, where a lot of people do the headshot, maybe AI, blah 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 blah. It's you with jeans and shorts on, hanging out by a harbor, and you
Yeah.
that yeah, this is me, and I think that is, you're so authentic. That's where I'm going with that. Um, how do we navigate through situations where you've got so much on your mind? Let's say that goal, there's that piece there, that piece there. I got to take care of that. I got to take care of that. Then I'll call then the fear. There's fear in there.
Yeah.
How do you get it? Is it just documenting it, getting out of your head on paper? What's the suggestion on that?
I have a couple. So one would be get curious instead of critical. So instead of judging yourself for the feeling of fear, get curious and ask more like, what is this fear trying to protect me from? Because we've talked about that as well. Or what's the story I'm telling myself instead of the actual reality of what's going on? Because
Mm,
often fear, it's just a signal that you're about to do something meaningful. And if your nervous system isn't used to that signal, it's like, stop. instead of, okay, let's just push it a little bit more to go outside the comfort zone. Like everyone has an internal thermostat, and like it depends what number your thermostat's set to, but that's where your body wants and your brain want to keep you. And in order to navigate around it, you kind of have to just push out a little bit. So another way you can do that is like reframe fear as fuel, as we were saying. So, and like I said about the podcast, fear is excitement without the breath. So like instead of me absorbing the fear, I turned the fear into excitement and made something really cool happen. So that's like another way to channel fear, which helps you channel that energy into action instead of, retreating, which is huge.
Mm.
And also just take micro actions. As I always say, baby steps, micro actions is another word. You don't have to leap off the cliff. Take one small, brave step and get the momentum going.
And I love the retreat thing. I never heard that word used before, but it's so clear that if you're afraid to do something, it's retreat. Because think of uh armies in battle. They engage, they're at the line, it's going down, whatever. And what is that? That's you embarking on a new direction.
Yeah.
No, retreat, turn around, go back, go back. You already got up to the line, i.e., you had the idea, it's good for you. You want to move forward. But no, 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 no. Going back, take a step back. Maybe you don't run all the way back, but maybe you take a step back. Then you take another step back. But that's fear. That
Yeah.
you still have fear.
Exactly. And it's also important to celebrate your courage. So every time you act in the face of fear or take that baby step or micro step, give yourself like a high five and, or like a happy dance, or write it in your journal just to show like, even though I was scared of this, I managed to overcome it. It's something to celebrate, even if you would feel like it's nothing huge. It doesn't have to be huge. Every step and every action you take moving towards something or to overcome something is a huge celebration.
We don't do that, do we?
No.
Yeah. Do you think that we don't celebrate the wins typically because we feel we don't deserve it?
Yeah, or it's not big enough to celebrate. There's always like, because when you think of celebration, most people think of like, a huge accomplishment, something like, oh, I got my PhD, or, I got a promotion to a CEO, or, like these huge things, or I graduated college, like, let's celebrate that, but how about all those steps in between that led to that achievement? They're just as celebratory as the end result.
I totally see that. The little wins add up to the big wins
Yep.
over a period of time, but we want the big ones. We don't see the little steps getting us closer to our goals.
No.
What else can you share? Overcoming fear. Anything that we didn't hit upon?
So I mean, ultimately, just remember that fear doesn't just disappear. It becomes a companion, not a captor. Okay, so you want to make sure that your fear is right alongside you, not like completely taking you over in every step of the way. And it's just important to just, take baby steps and, don't downsize anything or action that you're doing to overcome a certain challenge, because everything you do is a celebration. I mean, for me, with my autoimmune, I got excited when I could take one step down the stairs because I couldn't walk. And I would celebrate that, even though for most adults, everyone can just walk down the steps up and down, up and down, up and down. But to go down 2 steps at the time was a huge win. And now I'm walking again. So, like, at the time it might seem silly, but it's what those little baby steps turned into something, pretty amazing.
I'm going to digress here for a sec, but I'm using my intuition and picking up on some stuff. Not that I'm not psychic or anything like that, but I'm hearing something ahead. Do you think, and you shared with us previously that, you had some personal stuff going on, relationships and such. Do you think that that also fueled your autoimmune challenges as well?
Oh, yes. So, I mean, even my therapist tells me that, from all the trauma and the toxicity and everything like that, it was, kind of a way of my body just shutting down, and saying, stop taking all this abuse. And so I kind of had to almost become like reborn or have a rebirth because I literally had to. I mean, I still could like feed myself and stuff, but my mobility was shot. I went from walking one day to not being able to move because I was in so much pain and I could barely lift my hand up.
Oh,
So I had to relearn how to, move. Even like brushing your teeth or taking I like needed help. I was like, wow, I'm in my late 30s and I feel like I need to be in a nursing home. But I just kept pushing through it. And so the small wins, those are what kept me going, to stay positive. Like, wow, I was able to, get to the bathroom from the couch. Yay. I mean, it sounds silly, but
not at all.
in the moment, that was a huge achievement. Like I didn't need someone to carry me.
How did you continue in a positive direction without fear? You could have fear of, oh my gosh, what if I can't walk again? What if, what if, what if? How did you overcome the fear in that situation?
Well, I have to say because I had to restart other times in my life, like not quite with a health condition. So I had to start from scratch and, figure out a new career, how to make money, how I'm going to take care of my daughter. And those times the fear just overwhelms me and it just kind of progressed more of a negative thing because all I could focus on was oh my God, I'm not going to have enough money to pay the bills. Or, oh my God, or am I going to be able to put a roof over my daughter's head? Oh my God, So when this happened, I was just like, you know what? Let me just try to stay positive and see by focusing on, I was able to do this or I am grateful for that, see if the outcome's different. And with that, it made it just easier the whole time. I mean, there were certain times where I would totally I'd have my times where I totally crash and kind of fall apart, but then I would pick myself back up and be like, you know what? Yesterday I couldn't do this. Now I can. So things are moving, maybe not as fast as I would like them to move, but things are improving little by little. So if I didn't look at those little things, I probably would have lost it.
So I love your positivity. And I wonder if this is you. Do you look for things to look forward to?
Do I look that? Oh, always.
Me too.
Yeah, like I always look forward to, or like like even if it's the worst scenario, like I'm in the current worst scenario that I would feel at the time, I just say, you know what? But when I get over this, this is what's coming, kind
Yeah.
of thing. So just having that little bit of a mind switch that really helps you through challenging times. Otherwise, you get weighed down. And I think that's also where my autoimmune came from, even before some of the toxic relationships, just the weight of life,
Mm. No,
and
I got you. I was just
yeah.
texting with a friend, but here it's Tuesday. Saturday, there's a band playing, actually two. And this one band, I saw them over the summer. They hardly ever play, but they were amazing. And they actually are playing again in some gig, Saturday night. I was texting with my friend. Yeah. I just said, I know this is going to sound cheesy, but I'm actually looking forward to seeing them again. And my friend said, LOL, me too. And I have another friend that's in a tribute band, so I'm going to try and hit both. But it's Tuesday. I'm already thinking about Saturday because it's something to look forward to.
Yeah,
That's it.
exactly. And it kind of helps the week go along, because
Sure.
you have that.
Yeah, yeah. It's like the carrot on a stake for the horse, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you for all the insight. How does somebody connect with you, Donna, if they're kind of challenged by fear? They're trying to process all of this. As we said, you can't do this alone effectively. A coach is going to be impactful. How do we find you?
The best way to contact me is my phone number, which is 201-719-6991. If you'd like to schedule a discovery call so we can talk one-on-one and get to know each other better, the best way to sign up for that is my website, which is www.donnadaytlc.com. And you can also find me on social media under Donna Day TLC.
Love all your insight, love your positivity, your energy, and you being grounded. And this is, again, you've shared coming from somebody that has gone through some major challenges and did it and overcame it. And I got to believe a lot of that is from the principles you learned with, transformational life coaching.
Oh, yes.
For sure. All right. You walk the walk and talk the talk. And I mean, literally, now you are walking the
Yes.
walk. All right. Very cool. Thanks for being here. We'll catch up soon. Okay.
All right. Have a great day.
You too.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.